Hi, welcome to Sewing Bee Unravelled with me, Jane from Haberdasher and this is episode 3, series 8. So the theme this week was summer, and in the pattern challenge they had to make a shearing top. So that's with shearing elastic, which you wind around the bobbin, and then you have your normal thread on the top. You lengthen your stitch and you just stitch. Usually shearing is in several rows. I think they had to do 15 rows, which is quite a lot. Some of them drew lines, some of them had fabrics with straight lines on them, like the gingham, which was inspired because then they didn't have to draw any lines. It's much easier to follow. They did say that you don't put any tension on your elastic, but we find that if there is a little bit of tension on your elastic when you wind, you have to hand wind it onto your bobbin. That helps. Also, it does tend to work a bit better if you've got a machine that has a casing that the bobbin goes into, and then that goes into the machine, rather than just a top loading one. But it all depends on the machine. You need to lengthen your stitch so you get a longer stitch length, and you may need to adjust your attention, but you may not have to. Just have a play around with it. The other thing as well that they didn't mention that you can do to tighten up your elastic once you've stitched it is to just show it some steam from the iron, and that will shrink up a little bit more. Okay, so it was apparent that not many of them had done any shearing before, but that Brogan had, so she knew what she was doing. I think she was wearing a sheared dress as well, so it did kind of favour her. The dress they had to do had sleeves with elastic around here. It also had elastic in the waist, and they appeared to be showing the elastic in to the casing as they went, which is an odd way of doing it. It would have been easier to make a casing and then thread the elastic through, but I think they wanted to make it as difficult as possible. Anyway, they all chose a cotton poplin or lawn, I think. Some of them chose ginghams. That's a cotton or a polycotton anyway, so that kind of weight. So we've got lots of those in stock. I just have to point that way. We did have a little shearing dress in the window, a little girl's shearing dress out of this fabric, but somebody fell in love with it, so I sold it. But yeah, it's pretty easy to do, and it's quite fun to do as well. You can also use a gathering foot, which is a foot with just a little hole in it, and the foot, I think it slows the fabric down as it's going through the feed dogs, and it gathers things up. I haven't had a go with that. I've got a couple on order, so we'll be able to have a go with that. So that's cotton poplins. There's a couple of other examples here which I think would look quite nice. They did they used sort of ditzy florals, didn't they, and ginghams and things like that. Little ditzy floral would be nice for a little girl. This is a popular one. I've got it upside down, but it's like a lemon yellow. It's a gorgeous colour with pale grey and green. That would look lovely and fresh for the summer. One of the fabric that they didn't shear with, which you probably could, which would be nice and cool in the summer, is like a double gauze. It's kind of like a cheesecloth, if you remember cheesecloth in the 70s and 80s. Really soft and cool, and that would shear up nicely too. So there were some good ones and some mediocre ones and a couple of bad ones. So yeah, Brogan, Marnie, Christian, Angela, and Manu, they all did really good ones. Jill, Annie, Deborah, their shearing was a bit uneven. You can see at the front it kind of gapped a bit and then was a bit tighter again. And then Richie and Steve really struggled. I think Steve said he'd never made a dress before. And that was apparent. I didn't know what a sleeve head was either, which I was quite surprised about, because he made a shirt in the later challenge and he had to set in a sleeve in the shirt. So anyway, I think by process of elimination you could have worked out that the sleeve head is this part of the sleeve, because this is the cuff. Anyway, moving on. The transformation challenge was to transform a hammock into a garment for an adult to wear in the summer. And to use the strings and any sort of macrame features they could in their garment. Now my first thought was that it's going to be really heavy canvas. They did have 2 meters of it, which is quite a good length to work with. So I was thinking, well, jackets, shorts, maybe a skirt. There were a few dresses. There was a jacket which I thought was really good. That was my favourite. And I think Brogan did a skirt which was good with the lace-up tie around the side. But I thought Christian's jacket, he'd matched up the stripes in the front, he put a zip in, the fringing went all down the sleeves. That was, to me, that was the most wearable thing. But they really liked Deborah's dress with, she plonked that macrame thing on the front. Anyway, we all have our favourites, don't we? Right, moving on. Oh, I forgot to say them a pattern for the shearing dress. Oh, I could only find one in the McCalls. It's this one, 7946. It does go up to size 20. It doesn't have quite so much shearing. Doesn't have shearing over the bust. It has shearing under the bust. Now, if you're kind of my size, that ain't going to work because under the bust sort of merges into stomach. So I think that's for the skinny minis out there. But it's a nice pattern, and it's got similar sleeves to the ones in the pattern challenge. Okay, so made to measure was a 2-piece trouser coordinate, which is quite fun because there were some kind of vintagey looks coming out, and I also like that the men could actually make men's stuff. It wasn't restricted to just ladies' wear. So we spotted 3 of the fabrics that we stock. So I'll come and do those when as we go through. Most of them were pretty well done, actually. I think Esme was a bit picky about some features and then didn't pick up on others, but then that's always the way. Right, so Angela did some gold linen sort of culotte trousers and a top with a frill. That was out of our gold linen. This is a really lovely weight linen for trousers and shorts. We've got it in lots of different colours. We've got sort of terracotta, navy, grey, stone, black. These trousers, which you can't see me wearing, are out of that linen too. It's very nice to sew. Give it a wash first, but mine didn't shrink, but I did have a customer who said hers shrunk, so probably best to give it a wash before you do it. Anyway, Angela's trousers, they didn't fit very well at the front. It was quite a wide waistband and it didn't kind of fit very flush there, and the frills on her blouse weren't finished. They were just raw edges. Richie did his self-drafted harem pant pattern, but he hadn't tested it, so he came a bit unstuck, and he did it in a really, really lightweight fabric, which was lovely and floaty, but big to sew. Jill did the peacock 2-piece trouser suit and little top, so this is the fabric that she used. She also finished it with that dark red bias binding, which she got a different width on the top and the bottom, which looked a bit odd, but she did put a really lovely concealed zip in the back of the trousers, which was bright red, but it was totally concealed, so that was a really nice feature. So that is a cotton lawn. It's beautiful to sew, it hangs really nicely, and it's got a bit of drape. We've also got it in another colourway, in the turquoisey and green, lovely and fresh for summer. So yeah, that's £13.50 a metre. Marnie's nicely sewn, but they were a bit tight across the bum. She had a bit of a hungry bum. Brogan used a satin, actually. She was the only one who sort of strayed from the poplin cotton lawn or viscose route. Hers was lovely bold print. She did a little bralette and elastic trousers. Esme didn't like it because it had a tie at the front and a tie at the back. I thought it looked pretty good. Manie did the lemon print. She had the bustier, so she had cups to fit her model, so that was nicely executed. Annie, there was another bralette and trousers in an African wax print. The placement of the leaves was really good. I think it was the top was a bit tight. Steve did a two-piece men's shirt, Cuban shirt, which is a shirt with like a Revere collar, like a double collar. He did it in our toucan cotton poplin, and I met my friend for a dog walk the next morning, and we said we like it as our beach hut curtains, which is what it is. It is our beach hut curtains. So Steve made that his men's two-piece out of that. But that was well done. He really had to do well on that to save himself, and I totted up. I give everybody points based on what the judges say, and he did just about save himself. Christian's was a bold blue and beige kind of geometric print. It looked like viscose rather than a cotton. So viscose is a bit more fluid, and that's why it made me think it was a viscose, because just the way it hung. So we've got some lovely viscose prints. We've got this in blue and in a pale green. I think you might have seen Helen's trousers in the pale green. We've got lots of other patterns as well, different colourways. We've got this lovely ditzy print, which would look really cute as a little top or shorts, I think. Yeah, so lots of different viscose options as well, in bold patterns and in smaller prints. We've got a couple of plains. We've got black and a cream plain viscose too. And the winning one was Deborah's Yacht little top and shorts, quite fitted, quite a vintage feel about them. She did very clever placement of her pleats, so it didn't mess with the pattern. Yeah, and it looked like it was beautifully sewn, and that looked like it was quite a nice crisp cotton. So I've got, there's some fabrics, some more fabrics. So this is a linen mix. It's got this is suitable for men and women, I guess, with the print. It's got like a swordfish on it. It's a Ralph Lauren. That's got a really nice weight. That's great for shirts and for shorts. Cotton lawns. Got lots of different cotton lawns. These are a couple that are lovely, fresh spring summery colours. So those are sort of sagey greens. And we've got turquoise floral, and then we want to be bold and bright. This we had this last year as well. We've put it back in again. So those are cotton lawns. As I mentioned earlier, cotton poplins as well. So we've got lots of cotton poplins. If you see the bag in our window, that's made out of cotton poplins. So all of those fabrics are in stock and more. Pattern wise, dug out a few two-pieces. Found some patterns with two-piece sort of trouser and top. There are other patterns which have just the top or just the trousers, so you can mix and match. I just picked these ones. So that goes up to a size 20. Actually, that quite possibly was who did the gold linen? Angela, gold linen with the frill around the top and the trouser. Yeah, I think that is her pattern. I've just realised. Well done me. New McCall's catalogue is out actually. Dun dun dun. And they've got a few vintage patterns. So this has had a tie top and big wide leg trousers, which is nice. That goes up to a size XXL. More little crop tops and elasticated trousers. Little bra top, either with sleeves or without sleeves, with or without frills, and trousers. And some more fitted trouser and more fitted cup. Then in the plus sizes, I found some two pieces, which would be a little bit more flattering for those of a larger persuasion who don't want to show their midriff, i.e. me, and love a bit of elastic in their trouser. So McCall 7985, they go up to size, well, it says 16 there, but I know it goes up to size 32, I think. That's got trousers and a top on. That goes up to 32. That one's got quite a few on it, which is quite nice. tie front top or longer dress top, trousers. As ever, menswear McCall's is a bit thin on the ground. I couldn't find a two-piece men's, so I found a couple of shirts. So that's one shirt that's got pin tucks down the front. That's got the Cuban collar. That's why I picked that out. There are other shirt patterns available. And then this one is, we got a men's and a kids on this one. So it's the Cuban collar. It's got shorts and trousers, and that's men's and kids. So the kids is aged 3 to 8. And the men's goes from small to extra large. Okay, so I think that's all from me. I hope I haven't waffled too much. Look forward to next week. Can't remember what it is. I think I wrote it down, but I can't remember. Anyway, have fun, happy sewing, and see you next week. Bye.